And that'll be that white man.
Father was a very stubborn man who had to have his way, who was quite retiring too. He used to, the strange thing about him, he used to have his own little apartment off the main house where they lived. And he would be by himself there, reading a lot. Now, if you look at it, the thing, Marcus Garvey was like that himself too. He liked to be by himself.
Marcus obviously inherited many of his characteristics. Marcus Garvey's father was repressed in many ways, a frustrated person, a person who could find no way out and seemed to have internalized much of the feeling that the world was against him.
And see, you know, I can understand why people feel that way, because you can know deep down inside of you there's the urgent desire with a fire behind it for you to make your world be better than what it is. And then you look around and you see that with what you have to work with, it's not going to get done unless you do it. That could be misinterpreted real easy by society. See this as a complainer. This is someone who doesn't do anything but find negativity. This is woo woo woo, everything that'll be the true negative part of what's really the dynamics of what's going down. The description of Marcus Garvey's father could easily be defined behind the type of son that he raised. He raised a true pioneer at liberation of oppression. That's the type of man he was. His frustration and his feeling that the world was against him was true. He had a spirit that knew that the world was not the way it should be. And he knew as long as he was on earth and he didn't do anything to change that, that he was not living up to why he was sent to this planet. And yes, that shit gets to be very frustrating. And when you try to talk to people about it, it can seem like you're a bitter person. Because that's the only thing you can talk about. Because what the hell are you going to sit up talking about a beautiful birthday cake after you done watch somebody come out of the bathroom, just wipe their ass and put their hand all over it? Or what's the sense of thinking about a beautiful sunshiny day when you getting ready to go outside and get your ass hung at the gallows? All these things is what be going on in people's mind that you hear always spitting to the world, the type of stuff that I'm spitting out. It's not frustration. It's not that I feel that the world is against me. It's that I feel I'm not doing enough to make the world become the beautiful place I know it should be. And people that can't see it as the beautiful place that it should be is because they created ugliness that does not disturb them. But someone that see the ugliness and is disturbed by it would be someone like me that gets misinterpreted as a frustrated, bitter person.
Garvey's mother raised crops and, like many women of her time, cooked for a white family to support her own. But Sarah Jane Richards wanted more for her only surviving son than a life of common labor in the banana fields.
Garvey's mother had tremendous influence upon him, and she had great hopes for him. She wanted, in fact, to call him Moses, and she thought that he was going to do great things. That source of love, that someone, his mother in particular, loved him, helped to create that extraordinary self-confidence that Garvey had.
As a boy, Garvey imagined himself delivering speeches to adoring crowds. He spent hours reading, and even bet his friends they couldn't pick a single word from the dictionary that he didn't know.
The young Garvey had ambition. He wanted to get out of St. Anne's Bay. Later he said he dreamt of becoming the first gentleman in the world. And it seemed as if he early on developed this interest in a kind of dramatic, epic story of himself in which he would play a leading part.
But Garvey's grand ambitions were tempered by reality. As children, blacks and whites mixed easily in his community. One of his closest friends was a white neighbor, Joyce Reary. But as they became teenagers, her father put an end to the friendship.
At the age of 14, she was sent away to England and told never to speak to him because he was a nigger. And he said that's the first time that he heard and became aware of this idea of being black and what it meant. He felt shut out. He felt that he was excluded and made to feel that he was not good enough. And the rest of his life was really an attempt to prove that he was just as good as anyone else in the world.
See, here's the deal. I don't really believe that a person that is of the status of Marcus Garvey has anything to prove to anyone. He did not go around wanting to prove that he was as good as anyone. If that's all he wanted, he could have been the best piano player. He could have been anything other than someone who was trying to nationalize someone who had been denationalized. His true objective was to try to bring unity amongst his fallen people. It's real obvious that that's what he was out to do. That's the thing that really bothers me. When you see a genuine liberator, you would know that's what they are, because they're not going to come at you claiming no type of philosophical theology other than the necessary ideology of self-sustainment. Marcus Garvey preached that we were victimized by bigot, racist, corporate America, and that we needed to find ourselves united to restore ourselves to our great past. That is the same thing that I feel about us as a people. But see, I can't just say that what's needed for us melanated people as a people, because the reason that that was eradicated from us is because of us not paying attention to other people who was around, who would always watch our accomplishment and prey on us and take advantage of us. So there's no sense in even beginning to think that you can restore yourself to that, as long as the people that has victimized you constantly over and over and over and still sit around and stonking cahoots to make sure you don't get on your feet again. And if you do get on your feet again, we'll be right there waiting to attack your ass and break you down again. What's the sense in preaching us needing a nationalism if you can't preach the fact that as soon as we get one, it's just going to get destroyed by these same people that's still around us that destroyed the other one? That's stupidity. So the thing is, when you see the problem with the world, and you see these people around you who don't even recognize that they are the ones that's fucking everything up, you need to be courageous enough to tell them, you know, you need to stop your bullshit so everybody can go forward. Because it's your childish tendencies and your selfishness and your treachery and your barbarism that has fucked everything up. I just believe Marcus Garvey wasn't willing to say that to these people at that time. As today, you can't find many people willing to do. Well, almost. You can't.
Under the colonial education system, Garvey was forced to leave school at the age of 14. He became a printer's apprentice and quickly earned the status of master printer. In the print shop, he learned the power of controlling the written word and would soon publish his first newspaper, Garvey's Watchman.
And ain't it funny that that's what, in the back of my mind, I'm really motivated to do more than anything, is take to journalism. But I just never get around to do it. I have written some things before that I never did anything with. But I mean, I'm not a really brilliant writer, but I bet if I really got involved with it and put some extensive work into something, I could come up with something that people would want to read, I think.
In 1910, 23-year-old Marcus Garvey set out on a journey through Central America. Supporting himself as a journalist and laborer, Garvey saw black workers harvesting plantations, loading ships, and building the Panama Canal. They were the power behind the economy. But in their isolation from each other, black people were powerless. In 1914, he came upon the book that would change his life.
Marcus Garvey's reading of Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery was an eye-opener to him and pointed the way to his conclusion, which remained with him throughout his life, that the situation facing black people was a global one.
I was determined that the black man would not continue to be kicked about, as I had seen in Central America and as I had read of it in America.
And you know, I'll show you just how much I got in common with him. I feel the same way. But like I said, I have broadened my mind. I don't see this as a problem amongst melanated people. I see it as being bigger than that. I see it as being more than just a physical oppression problem. I see it more than anything as being a spiritual type of oppression. Because you know, it's all in the head. You can't tell me how you can put 10 people in one room and one person tell the other 9 what to do. That's ridiculous. You would have one person, they get maybe 2 more, and the 3 of them could push the other 7 around because the other 7 don't unite. But they could push the other 7 around to the point where they kill each one bit by bit, as to where the odds be down to 3-3, and the 3 people that's left would be wishing that they'd have killed their ass when they still had the advantage of 7. That's what I mean. It's just real simple. That speaks for itself right there. There is no way this hatred could be on this earth unless everybody was game to let it be going on. Everyone on this planet that's victimized by it is victimized by it because they are all involved with it, and they are all doing everything to keep it alive. Otherwise, it would not be kept alive. That's real simple.
Where is the black man's government? Where is his king and his kingdom? Where is his president, his country, his men of big affairs? I could not find them. And then I declared, I will help to make them. My brain was afire.
I want to tell you how everybody lost their freedom. Everybody lost their freedom by taking freedom from the person that everyone came from. Think about that.
As he sailed for home, Garvey's grand vision for himself and for the world clicked into place. He would unify black people scattered across the globe, and he would be their leader. Back in Kingston, he attended a debate and noticed an attractive 17-year-old named Amy Ashwood. When Ashwood took to the stage and delivered a powerful political speech, Garvey knew he had found a kindred spirit. He approached her later that evening as they rode home on a trolley. "At last I have met the star of my destiny," Garvey exclaimed.
Her parents were very opposed to it, particularly her mother, who was trying to keep her away from Garvey because Garvey didn't seem to have a solid income or be the type of person that she wanted her daughter dating. But Garvey was a great romantic, and he announced to Ashwood that she was his Josephine.
And she says, if you are my Napoleon, and they make a pledge that they would remain together and forge what would become Universal Negro Improvement Association. And they launch it together in...
And this is what's bizarre, because here you got a melanated freedom activist, okay? A person that's really serious about liberating his people. And then he gets attracted to a woman that's of the same caliber as himself. Okay, they're both supposed to be straight up, you know, we got to recognize ourselves as ourselves. But then the both of them pick people to mimic a love affair from off of European people. All right, come on. These would have been educated, melanated people who could have easily went to their history of self